Welcome to the BudsNReality Show. I'm Sean Collins, the guy with a lot to say. And I'm here actually with the sponsor of the show, Mr. Joel Rabbit, aka the Infinite Zeal Syndicate. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, my man? Thanks for having me back.
Man, I'm glad to have you back because actually we're in a point in time where, well, let's start here. You are a very beloved human being on the Twitter space, on the Twitter app, on the Bird, whatever you want to call it. Everyone loves you. They do, man. When it comes to the community that we're in, everybody knows who you are and everybody absolutely loves you. So it's great to have you on. Once again, thank you for believing in the show. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Dude, you know not what you do, really, honestly. And but your opinion and your mind is very valued always, but especially this week when there is, we'll say, drama in the club per se, as he laughed.
There's always drama. What it wouldn't be wouldn't be a normal day without it.
But we had a different week when it came to a certain situation. So let's just dive into it. Nina Turner, she is somebody who is very far left. That's very obvious. There's no sugarcoating that. She's very far left and is always screaming for free healthcare, free this, free that, free everything. Just give it all away, right? And us as anarchists or ANCAPs and or libertarians are like, that's not the best way to go about these things because we know better. Well, just to tell people a story, Nina Turner gets on Twitter and says, insulin should be free, not verbatim. It should be free for everyone, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Not verbatim, whatever. Insulin should be free. And so LPNH, which is Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, claps back and says, Nina Turner, picking crap should be free. Well, Nina happens to be black and took that to the next echelon. Now, mind you, that's literally what they said. Nina Turner, picking crop should be free. Now, in my mind, and the way I saw it, and fuck me if I'm wrong, honestly. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat it. Please, I will eat it. Like, I don't care. I'm one who's honest and wants to fix things as I could. But they say Nina Turner picking crop should be free. She goes off and says, these people are racist. They shouldn't say that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, well, she said, essentially, medicine should be free. And they say picking crops should be free. I mean, I don't know how else to look at it, honestly. And people want, and she has a huge following. She has tens of thousands of followers, way more than I'll ever have. I hope to have that many followers someday, but at this point, it's way more than I have, way more. And so people are like, yeah, racist. And I'm looking at it going, how is that racist? All they did was make a statement, So being the beloved man that you are on this app, no, you are though, man. Everybody loves you, man. Seriously.
I mean, it depends who you ask. If you ask, I don't know, people like Lindsey Graham or Abraham Lincoln, they're not.
Don't ask Lindsey Graham about Zeal, man.
No, don't. He's not.
Lindsey Graham wants you in hell for sure. That. But no, what do you think about this? Because this has caused a craze. This has caused a situation, pretty much. Where's your brain at on this right now?
Well, I didn't really get into it yesterday. I was just kind of enjoying the fireworks, if you will. But it's going to be the outrage merchants are going to, of course, go right to the racist thing and yada yada. Race wasn't mentioned in the tweet. they weren't advocating for slavery. Maybe if they said something like picking cotton, okay, then you can make the argument I can see that.
That
There's
would have
nothing like that. I just chalked it up to like, yeah, people. That's what the New Hampshire Libertarian Party of New Hampshire does very well. They know how to press people's buttons and and kind of get the fireworks started. I didn't see anything quote unquote racist about it. Of course, you say something like that to a black person, a leftist, particularly like Nina Turner, they're always gonna take it and turn it into race. And just all that aside, like Nina Turner is like someone like I don't take seriously at all, just because she's of course advocating everything be free, pay everyone $100 million an hour, XYZ, and then she I think you were telling me she was paying her workers like 15. So it's like, okay, right there you're a fraud. Like there's no other nothing else about it. Like from now on, basically, if Nina Turner says something is racist, I'm going to assume it's not, and that she's just kind of being an outrage merchant, which is what she is. So that's my take on it. I don't really have anything like super nuanced to say. I just the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire doing what they do best, causing a lot of anger for everyone, even within the Libertarian Party. So I personally, I enjoyed it. I had no problem with it. I didn't think it was racist. If a black person feels it's racist, who am I to say not to feel that way? But I didn't have a problem with it. It was just kind of funny. So.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like anybody who's listened to Buds will know, like if something was racist, I would call it out. I would call it out. And I just don't feel like what they said was racist at all. And it was blown way out of proportion, but at the end of the day, like when you think about it and you really, really dive deep into it, when somebody is advocating for something like free insulin, okay, they're advocating for free labor, and free labor is slavery. I don't care what anybody says. That's just
and by force too. I mean, if it's going to be free, that means someone has to be compelled to provide that labor. So it's not going to be voluntary. So if the government says it's quote unquote free, that means someone's going to be forced to do it again, to provide that labor against their will, or businesses can be forced to provide that product, like against their will, through like force of government. So, I mean, right there. And if it was racist, you would think like, okay, that's probably not the first time they said anything like racist. So I'm sure they probably have a history of racist tweets like this. Well, I don't think that they do. I haven't really seen anything racist from them before. So like they just were decided to be racist today or something. I don't know. So everything's racist. I get it, but of course, if you ask Nina Turner, who's Democrat, right? Joe Biden's probably like the greatest president of all time, and I mean, are we going to sit here in like Joe Biden's history? His 1994 crime bill. Some of his, we've all seen his talks on the House floor, or when he as a senator, and giving the eulogy for a Klan member, Robert Byrd. So it's like, and then some of the stuff he said kind of backhanded about Barack Obama, like that were like quasi like racist. So it's like, okay, like I'm not going to take Nina Turner too seriously when she says something's racist. So I just kind of laugh, and it's like, okay, now the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire gets some free publicity, and I'm sure they're just, they're gonna take it and run, do their thing with it. So they that's the second biggest one I've seen behind the John McCain one. They pissed off everyone with that one, and then then there's this one. So that's what they do, and they do it very well.
Well, and that's the thing, like at the end of the day, they're over the top, and that's their thing. But I appreciate that, because uncomfortable truths need to be told. We can't pussyfoot around things anymore. We've been pussyfooting around things for decades now, and look where we're at. Sometimes we have to call shit how we see it, no matter what it is. And if feelings are going to get hurt, feelings are going to get hurt. But what they did wasn't necessarily wrong at all. I don't even want to say necessarily. They didn't say anything off base or wrong. What they said was people should be able to pick food for free. That's the way I looked at it. But then you get in on a thread or whatever, and like, dude, they've literally put me, Buds, on a list on Twitter, on a Nazi list and on a racist list. Get the fuck out of here. I live in a predominantly black neighborhood. I'm very well respected by my neighbors, and I will definitely show them what jumped off, because I have a lot of cool conversations with my neighborhoods, because I wear these awesome t-shirts like this, like Not a Real Libertarian, because there's a lot of that going on right now. But like at the end of the day, nothing is free, nothing. And that's the big discussion that, you know, that we need to talk about. Like, the people that are advocating for free things are literally advocating for slavery, because they're asking for somebody's labor and time to just be given away. And her argument is, well, no, you pay your employers, but not Big Pharma. Well, Big Pharma is the one who's funding this. So how do they make their money back? You know what I mean? This is how this works. And a lot of people don't think about that. And I attribute it to this. I paint houses for a living. And somebody would be like, hey, come paint my house for free. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it. No, you know, it's and there's
You don't
going
want
to
to paint you don't want to paint your Detroit neighborhood houses for free. That's definitely racist.
I mean, according to her,
What are
that
you
would be
doing?
extremely racist. You know what I mean? What is wrong with you? You're not going to help people? No, but my time is valuable and it's worth something. And if I'm in a situation where I can give my time or my work away, I would definitely do it. I do things all the time for the community. I'm fixing to be doing something for the community very soon. I'm working it out right now. Like, you know, like, I've done things for the community in the past for the show. I wish I would have done more this year, but I've had a rough year with my surgery and shit. I couldn't do it, but something is coming very soon where I will be working to help community out and help people who are less fortunate out. But the fact of the matter is, nothing is free, nothing at all. And so to advocate for any, whether it be free healthcare, our free medicine, our free food, our free this, our free that, nothing is free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. It doesn't work like that. That's not how life works. You know, it's always the labor and the time of somebody else. So if you're not going to pay them for that, what's the incentive for doing that? Of course, there's charities and stuff like that, and people will do that voluntarily, but nothing should be forced under the rule of a gun, which is what happens when they do shit for free, because free means taxpayer funded, you know? So, I mean, we're in a situation here where, like, you know, libertarians might sound like assholes when we say that, but it's true. Like, nobody's going to work for free just for the sake of doing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. And I'm guessing like Nina Turner is not going to be the one to kind of give of her time or her money to kind of contribute to the stuff she believes in. And she knows someone's going to pay, right? She's a political activist. I'm guessing. I mean, she doesn't always sound intelligent on Twitter, but I'm guessing she knows like someone at the end of the day is going to have to pay, and she knows it's not going to be her. So yeah, it's just going to be these outrageous, make everything free, kind of like the Bernie Sanders stuff. And, you know, of course, everyone's going to, you know, at what point in time people are going to realize, you know, stuff isn't free. I don't know. But she, like I said, someone that's going to sit there and say stuff should be free. Everyone should pay this person this much. And then you're doing like the direct opposite of that yourself. I hope Libertarian Party of New Hampshire just keeps hammering her over and over. And the next time she says something like that, they should do the same tweet again, and you know, start this thing all over. So yeah, it was fun to watch the kind of the outrage, but when you get down to it, it's it kind of shows like where we're at. Like, even like libertarians or people on the right, they'll be concerned with the quote unquote like messaging. Oh, that's not, the messaging's wrong. We need to come across this way. Well, if you're saying something that's factually true, I mean, you can't really worry about someone's feelings. I forget who said this, but there's a quote. It's like if the truth kills them, let them die. I forget who said that. I don't remember, but I mean, if the truth kills them, let them die. I mean, sorry if it hurts your little feelings. A fact is a fact. Math is math. There isn't anything free. And
Science
I
is
mean, I
science.
exactly. I think I think they handled it just fine and the way they normally do. So more power to them. I hope they keep it up.
Now, the other thing was like a lot of us clapped back when it came to that, me included. And I was like, the only way what you're talking about is talking to Nina Turner. The only way what you're talking about, the only way it's going to work is through taxation. And taxation is slavery. And a lot of people chimed in. They're like, taxation isn't the same. You know, slavery is chattel slavery or chattel slavery. If I'm saying it wrong, I don't fucking know it and whatever. And I'm like, well, is it not the same? Because try not paying your taxes. Because what happens then? The state shows up at your house and either they kidnap you and force you into a cage and force you into slave labor, and or they'll fucking kill you if you don't pay your taxes. So please explain to me what's the difference between the two. There's no difference, honestly. There really isn't.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you would have said like conscription is slavery, that would have been like, oh, you know, conscription is not slavery because XYZ. So I mean, it's just, yeah, it's gonna go on and on and on. So yeah, I mean, I know you were definitely you got put on all those lists. So that's how you know you're doing something right. If you're getting put on the Nazi list and the racist list, whatever other list, extremist list, you're pretty close to being over the target.
And all I said was what I just said to you. I didn't say anything like, I will never, I'm not a racist human being. I live in a predominantly black neighborhood. If I was racist, I would not live here. Trust me. I would be living in rural Michigan where I was before, you know, renting my little condo. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, man? You know, I'm just here trying to pass along a message, but like, it's blown up, man. It really has blown up. And it's crazy that we are here in society, but like it's 2023 and everything is racist.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to be so. And like I think even like, yeah, I would even just be like, I'm not even going to like defend myself. If someone calls you racist, like I'm not like even wasting energy like defending yourself from some leftist that calls you racist. That's just futile. It's just like, okay, I mean, it's never you're never not going to be racist. It doesn't matter what you do. So you're not in this little box of political like ideology. So if you're outside of it, you're racist, you're Nazi, and these are just words now. Like to me, it's just these words have no meaning. Fascist, Nazi, even though they're different things, racist, extreme, you know, whatever, capitalist pig. I mean, they're just meaningless pejoratives now, and I'm just either I just like ignore them or like I'm not gonna like defend like play your game and defend myself based on your terms. If you call me like, it's just whatever. Like it's just a waste of breath and energy in my view to even kind of acknowledge the legitimacy that they like of their accusations to begin with.
I mean, to be honest, I kind of regret even chiming in on that because that was a lot of time and energy. Like,
well, that's what you do best. You're cracking heads and pissing people off. That's what you do, man. You got a lot to say. Let them hear it.
yeah, but there was so much unnecessary conversations that need to be had. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people, you know, out there saying like libertarians and anarchists need to be nicer. But like at the end of the day, and I'll say this real quick, I'll say this like right off the rip, like, hey, if I say something on social media and you want to come at me and have a conversation, I would welcome that. I would be glad to have it. But if you're going to come at me like a fucking asshole, I'm going to treat you like one. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. It's all about how you come at somebody, you know? And so that's that. But moving on, let's get out of that because we could spend 10 years talking about this crazy shit. And it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, but like, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's really not. If somebody wants to voluntarily help somebody, great, man, that is amazing. I voluntarily help people all the time. I know you do that. A lot of us do that. But like, there's nothing that says we have to do that. You know what I mean? Like there's people out there that want to, that can't. They're just not able to because they're struggling, and I've been through that before too. We've all struggled in life. But let's move on to something else, because like there's something else that's crazy going on in our world right now when it comes to libertarianism and the liberty movement and such. And we're coming up on an election year. And there's about 900 people running for president right now from all the parties, you know what I mean? Like whether it be Republican, Democrat, Green Party, Tea Party, Libertarians, blah, blah, blah. But like, we're in a situation right now where libertarians are endorsing authoritarians. And I think a lot of us feel some type of way about that because, it's very damaging to the movement, to say the least. And what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, we put a lot of work into this stuff and researching and damning the man and saying, Republicans and Democrats are bad because of XYZ. But then we're going to turn around and say, well, this Democrat's okay, or this Republican's okay. And it doesn't make sense. Where's your mind at when it comes to that?
Well, it was definitely interesting. For a few weeks there, I saw a lot of libertarians. It kind of seemed like, maybe this is a bit of an exaggeration, but some of them were treating kind of RFK Jr. like the second coming of Ron Paul, which I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But yeah, I think it's an important to kind of, it's okay to sit there and say, and be like on a specific issue, like RFK, man, he's really hitting the hammer over the head. When it comes to like big pharma and like the vaccines and like the corruption with big pharma and Fauci, absolutely 100%. Like, I think it's okay to make common cause with people on particular issues. Even like, I'm the kind of person, I'm going to probably like, even like a libertarian or whatever, like I'm going to disagree. 99% of people, like I'm going to have like a disagreement on about something somewhere, but that's fine. Like, I like having disagreements. I think it makes life more interesting. Just depends how you handle it. But so I think it's a good thing to make common cause on a specific issue. Yeah. So RFK has some like terrible takes on like on guns and the climate agenda and some other things I don't remember, but on big pharma and like corruption with like vaccines and the COVID vaccine and Dr. Fauci. Oh, he's 100. He's on the money.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we can take that out and say, okay, we're with you 100% on this.
And even the war machine, he spoke out against Ukraine and stuff.
The war machine too.
Spot on.
The CIA and deep state. I mean, no one knows better about the corruption of the CIA and stuff than RFK Jr. So yeah, there's going to be and he's big advocate for like free speech. He was I guess at some hearing this earlier today or something, and yeah, he's right on the money. So yeah, let's point out the things that he's 100% right about, and so yeah, we can align on these issues and have a dialogue about it, and we'll kind of go forward. And then I think it's just as important to acknowledge where he's right and where we agree, and say, okay, well, on the guns, here's what you said. On climate stuff, here's where you are, and kind of break those issues down and make it very clear. Like, okay, this is a big problem. So as far as like endorsing him as like a candidate, I thought that was kind of weird. I'm like, well, yeah, maybe he's quote unquote more like libertarian in a loose way on certain issues, but overall, like especially on guns. And I believe he was, I don't know how long ago it was, but he was calling for people to be jailed who were saying like climate change isn't real or something. Like, that's a problem. So I want to know. I don't know why you want to. And the other thing that was interesting was kind of the disappointment. Like, some people seem like let down. Like, oh man, like RFK, like on the guns, he was so. Yeah, I'm really disappointed on his stance on guns and on some other issues. And so, I mean, yeah, of course you're going to be disappointed. One, that's politics, but two, like, where do you think like a Democrat's going to be on guns and like that's always going to be the case. So, yeah, as far as like, I don't know, yeah, if you're a libertarian, I don't know if you he's definitely not a libertarian. Now, if
No.
you're just trying to be, if you're just trying to be like disruptive, now if you're just you want a pure libertarian, he's not it. Now, if you're just trying to be like a disruptive to the establishment and the system, okay, yeah, that's one thing. But you need to be very clear that's what you're doing. Like, okay, yeah, he's not a libertarian, but yeah, we're gonna like try to get him to run for us because he's gonna like really be like a wrecking ball to the system, and that's what we're really gonna try to do. And if you're really clear about that, that's one thing, I guess. But I think, yeah, aligning on specific issues that he's right about, yeah, absolutely, 100%. We should all be. I think to me, big pharma and war in Ukraine, those are like the two biggest things right now.
Absolutely,
That
absolutely.
I'm fired up with that he's bringing these things to light more, and I hope he keeps doing it. And I think that we should be highlighting those things more, and then we should also be highlighting his bad take on guns. And I'm not saying we should be like, you know, be like trying to like demonize the guy, but it's like, yeah, he's got some positions that are like really a problem for libertarians, and we need to be very clear about that. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Well, and I absolutely agree with you because, like, I actually saw the Rogan show, and I've watched all, like, it's like 3 hours, man, and I had to watch it, bust it up, and they took it down since you can't find it, but
Oh, they did.
oh yeah, I don't, you can't get it, you can't get that show. They took it down, and of course they did. You know what I mean? Too much truth. Truth is treason, and the empire lies. Who said that? Ron Paul. But anyways, you know of course, what he said about the war in Ukraine and about, big pharma and the vaccines was wonderful. And I could see the, the interest. I could totally see it. And I come from a long line of Kennedy lovers, actually. My mother was named after Jackie O, for crying out loud.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So like, it's I was intrigued at first. But I did some digging real quick, and I knew better right away, because there's actually old videos of him saying that, his family's vaccinated and he trusts vaccines and blah, blah, blah. I have receipts on that. I'll take a Larry Sharp term right there. I have receipts on that. Like, I have videos. I'd be glad to show anybody who wants to see them. I have it. And he's also come out and, back in the day, and said things like people should be locked up who go against the climate change agenda. He said shit like that. I have receipts on that too. And then just recently, which I have receipts on as well, he's come out and said that Congress needs to move forward on assault weapon ban. Which, what the fucking is an assault weapon anyways? Go to a gun.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna.
Go to a gun store and ask them for an assault weapon. They're going to laugh you out of the room.
Yeah, it's a made up word. That's another one of those things. It's like Nazi. It's trying to instill some sort of like feeling of like fear, like, oh, weapon of war, assault. Yeah, I'm not even gonna like. I'm not even ever say that word. It's like that's the word games they play. To demonize gun ownership, and yeah, that's especially on the guns, like that's like one of probably the biggest thing like on libertarians, like free speech and the guns. It's like, if you're calling for gun bans, it's like, well, that's like, yeah, I don't know how someone could even say they're a libertarian to be against guns. That's an interesting one, but yeah, I mean, he now, if he's, I don't know how long ago he said those climate things. Now, if he's since come out and said, yeah, that was a bad take by me, back then, I've since kind of thought through my position on this, and I've changed. That's one thing. I don't think that's been the case, especially on the guns or the climate. So yeah, it's something. But yeah, the AR thing, I don't want to say the word, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I say assault weapon, that's the last time I'm ever going to say it. But I feel like I'm conceding ground to the gun grabbers,
Right.
So But yeah, anyway, it's
Yeah, it's been, it's been weird. And then they got, and then the Republican side has and I'm gonna totally sabotage his last name, Vivek Ramaswamy or Ramaswamy,
mhm.
or, whatever. Vivek. The Libertarians are loving him right now too. And even, he's been on some shows and he said some really good things about the drug war or whatever. And they'll say things that are very libertarian leaning, just like RFK did. He'll say some things, but at the end of the day, he's a big hawk. He wants to go after China.
Yeah, he wants to go after China. I think he wants to send the military to fight the war on drugs in Mexico or something. Is he one of those guys? I felt like
Well,
I
no,
saw something
because he
like that.
just come out and said Clint Russell just talked to him. And which I love Clint Russell. I need to get him on the show. I really do. I really respect what he's doing and his opinion on stuff. And I need to reach out because he's a cool cat. A lot of people are mad at him right now because of the Nina Turner thing too, but whatever. A lot of people are mad at me for it too, whatever.
People aren't really libertarian unless, I mean, that's all. That's the thing. It's like, it's going to be a couple days. Everyone's going to be mad. And then something, well, it'll calm down. Everything will be fine, So it's just always going to be like, everyone's mad at somebody. They're not a real libertarian. Then it's like, okay, we calm down 2 days later. So it's just, that's what makes it great. You know what I mean? That's what being like
libertarian.
That's what makes it so great is, I mean, everyone eventually just gets over it, but then there's going to be something in 3 days and you never know what it's going to be about. But it's
Well,
an
we
exciting
always
ride.
need
I'm
something to be mad about. We always
Oh,
need
of
something to be mad about.
course.
Like, what are we going to be mad
But
about today? You know what I'm saying? This is
yeah,
crazy. But like,
yeah,
it's really, really, really damaging to the cause of the liberty movement if you're going to endorse people outside of it. Because we all know what we're going to get. We've done it a million times. Republicans have sounded so good many times, and Democrats have sounded so good so many times. But here we are in this shithole of a dumpster fire that they have both created. And it's not one of those situations where you're just going to vote harder, for this side or that side. It's not going to happen.
yeah. I mean, it's I know. I just have such a hard time. I can see the appeal of liking the Viveks and I'm sure he's a great guy and he's got some good takes. He says he's going to pardon all these people. Great, that's all, amazing. But it's really easy to say stuff on the campaign trail. Like I'm personally of the opinion, I have really little interest in what anybody says on the campaign trail. Political candidate, I don't care. Okay, fine. Let's just say I'm running for president. I'm gonna end the Fed. I'm gonna end all the wars. I'm gonna throw all the corrupt politicians in jail. Like you can say anything. You know what I mean? Like especially now, like nowadays, like people just forget what someone says like 6 months ago. It's just because there's always like every 3 seconds there's something new going on or something new being said or happening. So I personally, it's like I disregard everything someone says on the campaign trail. For me, there's no reason to take it seriously at all. We can let's start as far as we can go back in American history of people making promises on the campaign trail, and let's just see how often they were kept. I would love to see the actual math and percentages on those. We can just go back to Trump. Okay, he's going to drain the swamp. Didn't happen. He's going to make Mexico pay for the wall. Didn't happen. What else? He's like loves the he's pushing gun control and he's saying how much he loves the Second Amendment. What else? I'm blanking on some other things we
there's
could
a
find
bunch
out.
of laundry lists of shit that he said.
So, like, how many times? Like, there's nothing new under the sun. Like, politicians are going to say stuff on the campaign trail. Of course they are. Like, that's what gets people fired up. It's just amazing that, and a guy like Vivek hasn't been in office, so it's kind of hard to say, like, oh, of course he's running just to have a job in the Trump campaign, obviously. Yeah, he's got some good. He said some cool things. Great. Yeah, he wants to pardon all these people. At the end of the day, if he's elected president, is he going to pardon all those people? I don't know. He's probably not going to be president, but it would be cool if he did those things. So me personally, someone says they're going to do something when president, 100%. It's going in one ear at the other. I'm not even going to pretend like this is serious. That's what political campaigns are about. They're about getting people fired up and all this and that and the other. But for me, like I said, with President Trump, like it's like people are like so hyper, like fascinated with all the stuff that he says. Oh, he says this and this and this. Okay, but all the stuff that he actually did, like it's like we're gonna pretend it didn't happen. Like the stuff he actually did didn't happen. Like, push the vaccines, all his appointments, all the spending, all this stuff that he's saying now he's gonna like do the second time. Like you didn't do anything close to that in the first term. So why should anyone believe you're gonna do it the second term? But it's like that doesn't matter. He's saying he's good. Like it's just all about what people say. And to me, on a political campaign, like I said, you can just say anything that you want. And for some reason, people aren't really held accountable for not following through with their word. And for me, that's all that matters: what you do, not really what you say. So he's saying some interesting things. He's like kind of like an anti-establishment guy, Vivek, I guess, to some degree. But like that's an easy thing to be on a campaign trail. Like I'm not taking it serious. Yeah, cool. Like you're gonna pardon Julian Assange. Great. Yeah, elect me president. I'm gonna I'll end the Fed on the first day of office. Like, I mean, like what are we doing? So I don't know. Like I don't believe in political solutions. I don't believe there's for me like I'll never understand like people like presidential debates. What's going to campaign rallies? Like it's literally just a bunch of PR and to get people fired up. Like none of this stuff ever is going to come true or happen. It never has. So, but somehow we're all going to pretend like it's going to be different this time. Like it's not going to be different this time. It wasn't different last time. It wasn't different the time before that. It wasn't different the time before that. It wasn't different the
There's
time before
nothing new
that.
under the
It
sun.
wasn't different the time before that. It wasn't different the time before that. So it's going to be different now. I don't know. Maybe I'm happy to be proven wrong. I hope Trump, she pardons us. I'll eat my words in 3 seconds.
Right.
I'm happy to be wrong, but I mean, whatever. We'll just see. But yeah, anytime the campaign rallies and the takes of people saying what they're going to do as president, like I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna take it seriously. So anyway, that's my rant on Vivek. But Vivek, he has some good takes. He said recently he'll pardon Ross Ulbricht and all this stuff. So at least it's good to have a political candidate. I will say it's good to have a political candidate say these things like specifically. Yeah, I'm going to pardon him. This is like Ross Ulbricht, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, all these people. I don't think too many even Republicans have said things along those lines.
Right.
So to have someone actually like acknowledge these people and say their name, and bring it up is good. And it's interesting. Vivek's like aligning in the Trump camp. He's saying he's going to pardon Assange and stuff. It's kind of funny because President Trump, I believe Assange was indicted under President Trump. So it's kind of interesting how Vivek kind of is speaking out about like how he's going to pardon Assange, and then he's in the Trump camp, and then Trump's the administration is the one was in charge when he was indicted to begin with. So it's just those kind of like inconsistencies for me is where I have a hard time like buying into like the political candidates when they're saying things.
I get that for sure. And I'm never going to buy into, the duopolies bullshit. We've been down this road forever. It's the only road we've ever been down, honestly, especially in my lifetime or your lifetime. But at the end of the day, to have libertarians endorsing authoritarians, knowing that they're against things that we believe in, has been quite bizarre. Now, and libertarians are funny. At the end of the day, I'm an anarchist.
I don't funniest.
I don't want a state. I don't want a government at all. I really, really don't. Like my perfect situation is no government. It is a full voluntary society. I am an ANCAP. I am an anarchist, whatever you want to call it. But like, why are we pushing for people, or we shouldn't say we, but why are certain people pushing for authoritarian figures when they know damn well? And now a lot of people have seen RFK for what he is now. Thank God. They really have. And let's put on my tinfoil hat real quick. Everybody put on your tinfoil hat, because this is nothing I haven't heard anywhere This isn't news or anything I have picked up. This is my own thoughts. RFK is one of the biggest psyops that we have right now. And I believe that he was a Democrat plant, to be honest, because they know that he's going to rile up a crowd that wouldn't normally vote Democrat, but now they will because they have similar feelings, whether it comes from the Republican side or the Libertarian side, right? But they know at the end of the day that he's not going to fucking win the primary against Biden because, let's just be honest, he doesn't have deep enough pockets. We know how this works. The deepest pockets gets the nod. So what's going to happen?
And the DNC is like the most corrupt. Like they're not going to let anything like that happen.
So what's going to happen is RFK is going to lose in the primary. This is my tinfoil hat, you guys. Don't take me seriously or whatever. Take me seriously, whatever the fuck you want. RFK is going to lose in the Democrat primary. He's going to run as an independent, steal votes from both Trump and Libertarians, which will solidify Joe Biden's fucking reelection. That's where my tinfoil hat is on RFK.
Could be. Yeah, it's he do the old who was it, Ross Perot, like just split the vote and
yes,
that'll get by.
Ross
So
Perot's a different story. Ross Perot,
right?
That's different. A lot of people don't know what happened with Ross Perot. So everybody blames Ross Perot for Clinton winning the election. He split the vote, blah, 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 blah. Because he took a good percentage of the votes, actually. But what most people don't know, and I've talked about this on Buds many times, is the reason why Ross Perot dropped out of the race in the first place is because his daughter was getting married. He was at his daughter's wedding. The GOP knew about it. He said this in an interview, by the way. I've seen this. He said this in an interview. His daughter's getting married. The GOP sends goons to his daughter's wedding saying, hey, if you don't drop out of the race, we're going to make a scene here. That is what I have read on numerous occasions, and it's been a long time. I can't give you sources. I know, lefties. Where's your source? It's been a long time. I don't really fucking remember. But I know I read it. I know what I read. And yeah, they sent goons to his daughter's wedding to tell him if he didn't drop out of the race that they would make a scene at his daughter's wedding. Look it up.
Well, that is I'll take your word for it, but I will look it up. That's interesting. I didn't hear. And then well, you said you heard him. You said he did an interview. So if anyone needs a source, it's like, well,
yeah, there's an interview on it.
His own words. I mean, how's that for you? But like RFK, it is interesting how he's running like now, because he, I think he said something like the Democratic Party is kind of not the party, whatever that he knew, or their values have changed. And it's like, well, I mean, in 2020, I feel like they were kind of the same as they are, like not that dissimilar to where they are now. So, I mean, why he's choosing to run now, I don't know. He could do a third, maybe. I don't know with this Trump stuff. If the Republican Party squeezes Trump out, I wonder what he decides to do. And for RFK Jr. So it's going to be a lot of fireworks. It's going to be interesting.
It'll definitely be.
I'm
crazy.
looking forward to it. I mean, honestly, I'm so thankful to be alive at this point in time in history. As crazy as stuff, it seems like it's the end of the world. Like, there's just no end to the amount of the meme content is just absolutely.
Oh, the memes are solid as
the charts these days. Like I can't imagine being alive like in even being alive in like 1770. Like I don't know. I feel like this is way more entertaining and more fun. There's always something to look forward to. So and stuff could get once we get closer to the election. Who knows what other stuff starts happening? But I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
Whatever happens, the government's going to win the next election, right?
Got that right.
So there's no political solution. So I'm trying to in the meantime, do everything I can for myself and family. That's like not relying on a certain political outcome. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. Last election was the most important election of our lifetime.
So is this one.
2016 was the most important election of our lifetime. 2012 was the most important election of our. So the whole point is that every election is the most important election of our lifetime, right? The only way that we can, save ourselves is to vote for this party or this candidate. Well, you said that last time and you won. Like the Republicans, right? It's like, oh, we have to vote red, save America. Well, the Republicans in 2016, they had the House, they won the Senate, and they had the White House. But somehow we get to the next election and we're being told the same thing. So what were you doing during that time where you were like, obviously, like, you didn't do anything to save America because we have to do it again in 2020, right? We have to do it again in 2024.
Yes.
So I'm just, what am I missing? But then it's like, it's not their fault, right? It's the Democrats' fault. It's a deep state's fault. Trump couldn't drain the swamp. He would have drained the swamp if it wasn't for those pesky Democrats in the deep state. And it's like, okay, now we see how this works. So we're gonna it's the same old dog and pony show. We're gonna be told the same thing in 2024. Most important election of our lifetime. I'm not saying like stuff's not important, but we've had how many elections up to this point? And I just tweeted something earlier today. It was like, it's like mainstream. Because it's a mainstream position. It's like the position of the federal government, like that, like gender affirming care is like a good thing. Like we need to affirm any child that wants to be trans. We need to push the surgeries forward. Like, so how come like voting Republican didn't stop this? How come voting Republican didn't stop, like, we have X amount of $1 trillion in debt? How come voting Republican didn't stop all this this censorship and political prisoners being arrested? It didn't do anything to prevent any of this. It's like the Sanders Spooner it's unfit to exist. Like either you're powerless to stop it or you enabled it. So which one is it? Like obviously voting for you doesn't prevent it. So why is it going to prevent it this time? It didn't prevent it last time. Hasn't prevented it up to now. And now all of a sudden, like, you're going to get this right. Oh, we're finally going to pull out all the stops. We're going to have everyone, the corrupt CIA arrested. We're going to say I don't know how many times we have to do this before it's like, it's not happening. So we'll see. I would love to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Same.
History up to this point doesn't show that that's going to be the case, but I don't know. It'll be interesting and it'll be fun, and I'm not saying like there's not bad stuff and it's not serious. How I like to see it is through, I try to find the humor and like the mock things, and I don't see why we can't have a laugh and have fun as the empire collapses. You know what I mean? So I can't do anything. Things outside of my control, I try not to get angry about, like the Nina Turner thing or whatever. Like, I can't control what's going on. I'm going to try not to get mad about that. I'm just going to see if I can find a way to like have a laugh and see the funny side. And to me, that's how I try to deal with things. So that's how I'm going to deal with them at the election. And it's the meme content again. You can't ask if you're like someone that creates content, like, you can't ask for a better time to be alive. There's always something.
Right.
It's almost too much. I can't even decide. It's like, what do I? Every time I think I find something good, it's like, there's something new popping up. So it's a good problem to have.
It's definitely we will meme our way through this and have a good time no matter
every
what.
day.
No matter what. This is why everybody loves you, dude. This is why everybody loves the Zeal, man, is because you do your thing and you just have fun and put people on blast in the most respectful way possible, I must say, except when it comes to Lindsey Graham. You have a lot of fun.
I try to keep my I just try to, I don't know, I try to stay out of like a lot of like when libertarians are fighting about stuff and all the like, I just try to stay away from that. I think it's interesting, like, but like it's like I gotta keep my energy focused on over here. We got all this gotta on the state and all this stuff. So this is where I got to keep my focus. And Lindsey Graham, I got to keep my eye for him, you know. So, but I mean, you got to meme our way through it, and that's the only way I know how to deal with it. So that's what I'm going to keep doing.
That's right on, man. Joe, my man, Zeal, thank you so much for doing this. I don't want to keep you too much. You got a family to get back to, man. You got family to love. Other than making memes, Mr. Zeal has a family that he has to tend to. So we're gonna let.
Well, yeah, I got the family here. I mean, we've been they're probably sick of me. We've been hanging out all week so far. So they, you know, they're getting a break from me. So like, oh, get this guy out of here, you know. So because I'm sure my wife's. I keep her in. She's not really like a political person.
Same on
but
that.
She gets a kick out of all the stuff. I always, you know, show her the tweets and stuff, and she thinks it's funny. So I'll have to show her the Nina Turner stuff and see what she thinks about it.
Oh yeah, it exploded. She's gonna be like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah,
dude, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for believing in this show, dude. Like, thank you.
Always, man.
You know, you were one of the people, even when I was just a little bud, you know, before, you know, things started to pop off a little bit, you know, you were checking on me and shit when I was sick and stuff. I really appreciate that. You know, I appreciate you believing in the show. Please follow this man on Twitter, dude. He's the best, honestly. @_infinite zeal. You know, and if you want the funniest memes and just to have a good time and get liberty minded, get with this dude. He's great. And you know, until next time, guys, peace, love, and liberty. Be good, y'all.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.